feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you are new here. If you're my patron subscribers, welcome. So for today's video, we're going to talk about the 2022 midterm election. We're also going to be talking about May and June as well, as we have not done the video since April 30th, where I am partially back on YouTube part-time. I won't be full-time yet, but I am back part-time to say the least. So in this video, we'll be covering both May and June. If you just want to jump into a certain section of this video, go to the description below or go to where the little red bar is, and I will break it down onto you, whether you're on TV, a tablet, a mobile device. It's going to break it into little chapters or segments. You just click on that, and it will take you to those specific segments if you want to kind of just watch and see what the Senate result is going to be, the House election result, and also the popular vote, whatever you prefer. This video can be short and sweet. That is the main goal of today's video, hopefully. So that's the goal there. Yeah, let's just jump into it. I have my own formula now. I took the formula from the last video from April, and I really liked how I did everything. And I just wrote down what to do step by step in case I lose track, and for any future president, and hoping that this would be not 100% accurate, but at least somewhere in the 90s. That is what I'm hoping for. At least 85 would be best. But without further ado, let's jump into it. A lot has happened from abortion rights leak of Roe versus Wade, Pride, so happy Pride to all of you guys. A lot has happened from gun rights to Miranda rights to a whole bunch of things, but the Supreme Court in particular. Also, along with the economy, inflation, COVID-19 kind of dissipating a little bit, not 100%, but it is there. So there is a multitude of different things entering into the 2022 midterm that we may not have considered 100% in April 30th. So things will change. We won't see the long-term effect of Roe versus Wade in the tarot card reading energetically up until around August, when it starts to go into full swing. So this is kind of a little bit of a time frame here, just to kind of give you an understanding. From May, the Roe versus Wade leak into June. That is the first 30 days from May to June, would be the first 30 days from the leak. And then from the overturning of the Supreme Court, Roe versus Wade is not going to show up in the tarot cards until the 30 days after that has passed. So we won't know how that is going to go from the Supreme Court perspective and how people are responding until 30 days after it passed. And then after that, we have where the laws actually go into effect about a month after its passing. So right when I read on the next time, which is going to be July midterm reading, it's just going to read on the overturning Roe versus Wade and how people are responding. In August 2022 midterm is now going to look at how people are receiving and responding to the laws actually being put in place and the restriction that they are facing within the state. And so that's the timeline there. And just to kind of give you a little bit of more of a broader perspective on what we're covering in today's video and an understanding of how this works entirely. So let's begin. So this is being recorded on July 1st, 2022 at 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, well, it is 12:29 a.m. in the morning on April of August. And here is the Google News. So you can kind of see here, there's a little bit of a restriction here on my phone, but this is the Google, this is the current news and everything that's going on in the current news. So if you look up one of these articles on YouTube, on Google, you will find that in the time of when this video is being recorded, it is true. It is July 1st at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let's just begin. And I will not be doing any more personal readings unless you are a former client, and then I will be open, everything like that, but I'll go through that in another video. Here are some quick disclaimers on your screen right now. This video is just for entertainment purposes only and for education purposes only as well. Feel free to read those on your own time if you like. Again, everything is timestamped in the description below. So the first thing is we're going to talk about May. We're going to go back and forth per topic. So we're going to go May, June, May, June, May, June. Okay, again, everything timestamps. Okay, May. What party is more popular, the Republicans or the Democrats? If so, by how much? So let's take a look. We're going to use our old-fashioned Uno cards. And so to kind of see based on our previous data from the before, we had 53 to 48 in terms of the popular vote, with the Democrats only ahead by 3%. The question is how popular are they now? Are they more popular because of the leakage, or are they less popular because of inflation, COVID-19, and other crises that Biden currently enduring? So let's take a look. Okay, so this is for the Democrats. So we have an 8, but it's reversed. So the thing is, Spears Angel, so if this is reversed, does this count as a plus or does it count as a negative? Because I know sometimes it counts as a negative for you, sometimes positive. Okay, this is negative. I heard negative. So -8 for the Democrats, up 3 for the Republican. So let's do the math here. So, okay, so 8, 9, 10, 11. So the Democrats are actually down by 11% in terms of the popular vote, is what it appears to be. Is that correct, Spears and Angel? Are the Democrats down 11% from last month when we read on April, from April 30th? Is 11% for the decrease for the Democrat popularity in the tower card. Is that correct? They told me that is correct. On your screen right now, you will see the popular vote here. We have the Democrats currently at April 22nd at 53 to 48. Well, there's a major shift here. Biden's popularity in this aspect seems to be tanking the Democrats. We'll see if that takes a different path in June. So we're going to type this in now. So 53 minus 11 would be 42. So the Democrats would be at 42. There would be that lowest amount that they have been at. It's the first time the Democrats lose the popular vote for the first time in the tower card deck. That's pretty bad. Okay. And for the Republican, they're going to be at 48 plus 11. They seem to be on par. If you look at it, it seems to be on par with Biden's popular vote approval, which seems to be very interesting to say the least on how that is playing out. So it appears as of right now, it appears that the Democrats are now, the Republicans are ahead for the first time ever. I have never ever witnessed this. This is an interesting change of results. Well, we will see in a moment will that hold for June. Again, that is the effect of Biden approval rating. It seems to be that the Democrats are now evenly matching Biden's approval rating, which is not a good sign for the Democratic Party going into the midterm. Again, this is not going to determine the results of 2022 midterm. It's just going to say basically if the election was held today, this is what will happen. The Democrats will be down 11%. That does not mean they're going to lose. That just means that if the election was held today, that's all that we're looking at. We're looking at what would the world look like if the election was held. That's all. So now the next one that we're going to do is June. What party is more popular, the Republicans or the Democrats in the month of June? Now, this is changing as after the 30 days have taken effect from May to June of the Roe versus Wade leak. So this is going to change the popular vote. So let's take a look and see how that affects from the last time you read in May. So it appears that there is a significant change here. The Democrats, for the first time, gained back 8, but the Republicans increased 2. So we're going to take that. We're going to take that margin here, 8 plus 2. That's going to be a minus here. So we are going. It's a 6. So the Democrats increased by 6%. At least it's a lot better than where they were in May. So let's take a look. So if you look at the month here and you see the Democrats were at 42% in the popular vote to the Republican 59. Again, the Republicans are still in the popular vote lead for the second month in a row. So let's do the math here. So the Democrats are going to increase by 6 in June. So it seems like it may, if they follow the trend in the Republicans are decreasing the popular vote, the Democrats may end up taking the reign by August, potentially early September. So let's do the math here. So 42 plus 6. The Democrats are actually at 48. So that is a very close margin. So it is very close. And the Republicans are going to be at so it is very close. As you can see that it's narrowing up again. So that is a good sign for the Democrats here that Roe versus Wade leak is indeed helping the Democrats on the popularity scale while it is hurting the Republican. That is a big margin, especially a big massive gain that the Republicans had, and it's diminished within a month. That is monumental for the Democrats and detrimental for the Republicans. So let's take a look now at the Senate and see what is going on in the Senate. So now, going back to the Senate here, we have the Republicans at 53. The Republicans were projected to win if the election was held in April. The Republicans will win with 53 to 47 to the Democrats if the election was held in April. Let's take a look and see what it is holding for the month of May. Again, the Democrats were projected to win according to the tarot cards by 11%. Let's see how that is going to play out for the Democrats and the Republicans in the May midterm election for the Senate. Let's take a look. Congress decides it leans Democrat, so at least we know who's going to win the Senate is going to be back to the Democrats here, which is the interesting projection here. Okay, so like this, numerical value as in cards like these. Okay, so the first one we have is 61, 37, 2. Okay. Okay. You see, when I asked for it, they give it to me. Okay. Let's see. Ooh, hold on. There's too many here. Way too many. All right, let's move that. Okay, so this I believe was reversed. I'm gonna read it reverse. Okay, so we have 56, 44, 61, 72, 70. Okay, excuse me, I really cannot talk right now. 61, 37, 2, and then we have 53, 47. So how we are going to do this is we're going to take the top three numbers. So 61 plus 56 plus 53. Right, we're going to add those three together. Once we get the total number, we're going to divide that by 3 as that's three numbers. And then that will be the average for the Democrats. And then whatever else is for the lowest seats, you add that up, divided by 3, and that will be the average for the Republicans, and that's how we're going to enter that into the system. So let's do it right now. In the month of May, again, guys, please remember this is only for the month of May. Divided by 3, that is 56.6. I'll keep it at 56. We're not going to round up to 57. So for the first time in a long time, since January, we are projecting a Democrat majority. Well, not a Democrat majority, a very big majority. They haven't had this majority for a long time since Barack Obama's first term in the White House, and it will be 56 for the Democrats. Okay, and let's take a look at the Republicans here. Let's take a look here. We're going to just add in that too with the Republicans here. Actually, no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to leave the two as potential winners for undecided or toss-up. We're going to leave that at toss-up. Okay, now at 42, I'm going to increase 1 seat. So I'm going to round that up because I did take a seat away from the Democrats because it didn't make any sense to round up when I could just round down. Right? It's unlikely the Democrats will get 57. It will be more likely to get 56. So the Republicans will get more likely to get 43 than 42. So let's do it. Let's put that in. So for the first time in a long time, guys, here you see in the past 3 months, the Democrats have not been projected to win. They are now at 56 to 43. A very significant interesting margin that they're choosing, considering the fact that the Democrats are projecting the popular vote to be losing by 11%. That's an interesting thing. We'll see if that holds for the month of June. Okay, and then we're going to put here, for the first time, we have more toss-up seats since the month of November last year. So, yeah. All right, let's do the month of June. Let's see how June's doing. Again, the reason how I knew it was leaning Democrat, but the majority is said leaning Democrat. That's all that is said, and it's because Congress decides and the potentiality of a civil nuclear war. So that's what really propelled the Democrats into the midterms to win the Senate, is particularly on that notion of potential war with Russia. So that is really, if you're wondering what is going on and how the Democrats were winning the Senate, which made no sense along with the popular vote here. But again, like I said, it's just not set in stone. It's just the current energies and how people are feeling based on who they will vote for. Okay, let's do the month of June. Okay, so it said Democrat hold, but we're not. We're gonna put that back. That's only the White House, but that could mean just in general, but we'll see. First one that came out was we have 50-50 Senate. Okay, 50-50 Senate. We have 60-39-1. 50-50 Senate again. What the odds, right? Very likely. Then we also have here 61-37-2. Right? So the odds of what it's saying is going to be really tight, or it's going to be big margin. That's kind of what it's really leaning towards in terms of the electoral margin here. We also have 35, 46, 19. Holy cow. Okay. So here's why I say this is very significant. It's because whoever has the most seats already is most likely going to be more likely to gain the Senate than, let's say, the party with 35 seats, because 19 is up for grabs. Normally, this would be for independent parties, but we don't have independent parties at the moment, or the potentiality of a Trump party. So the 19 means tossed up. 19 can go either to the 46 party or the 35 party. Does that make any sense? Like, that is what I'm seeing here. But it says here the results are undecided, which means that 19 can change the results of an election, or what way it can go. Which makes sense because it really depends on the candidates. Again, people are still going through the primary system, so we don't know exactly who's going to be the Democrat and the Republican. So also keep that in mind. It's just a generic Republican and Democrat. It will get more specified as we enter into the month of July and August, where we start to really see the results start to solidify against each other. Okay, so the other cards, I'm just going to briefly show them to you. The fact and major movement change from the last month and the results. We have pro-choice, women's rights. That's a big one. We have boring leader, right? Everybody can all agree here that Biden is pretty boring compared to the last one. Not saying that was a good thing, but in this case, he is boring. He is not someone that really excites his base. We have here political debate 2016, women versus men, superiority complex. Oh, actually, look what's also behind it. Interesting. Okay, 54-46. So they did give me another one, and I'm so sorry, Spirit. I didn't mean to get mad at you. So we'll add that all in. This is the biggest amount that we got. So this is going to be a good average. And then we have here what's also playing a major role here is national debt. I think we can all agree the economy is pretty hard on us, and along with unsolved mysteries. So what is going on with January 6th and other things like that, investigation scandals and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing we did last time. We're going to take the first average of each, and we're going to add them up. If quickly before we do, we're going to add in who's most likely going to win if the election was held in June. Okay. So this was reversed. So let me just ask if that means a Democrat wins. Red, red, red. We also have blue on the back too. It was reversed. Oh, okay. Hold on. So we have red. This was upright, I believe, right? No, I think it was reverse. If it was reverse, it's blue. No, it was upright. It was upright. So it's Republican. Excuse me. I apologize. It was red. The red here was reversed. It's a blue. Then we also have here Texas was reversed, which is red. It is reversed, and it's the blue. So it'll be 2-1. Democrat will be the one leading in this aspect. So the Republican will not be winning the Senate. Again, we'll see. We'll do the total. Going back to your screen here, we're going to... Okay, they got it back. Oopsie. But whatever the total amount is, we're going to add each number 50, 54, 60, 50, 61, 35. We're going to add them all up. 46, excuse me. I'm going to add them all up. And they're going to divide that by 6, and that will be the average amount for the Democrats in terms of seats. So let's take a look and see what it is. Divided by 6. Okay. Ooh, okay. Wow. The Democrats actually lost these. Interesting. Okay. So 53. Are you sure this is right? I'll put this in just in case, but let's see. That's 321 divided by 6. That's 53.5. Yep. Okay, so 50 plus 46. That's 257 divided by 6 here, and that is 42. Okay. That's interesting. So both the Republicans and the Democrats lost seats. Interesting. Well, actually, yeah. So if you round it up, because it's 42.8, so I'm actually going to round them both out. So they're going to get 43 for the Republicans and 54 for the Democrats. And that seems to be more on par with what we're getting here. And then the rest of those C's, if you add that up, so 53 plus 54 would be 97 minus 100. That would be 3. 3 would be tossed out. So 3 would be undecided. It could either go to the Democrats or to the Republican. And I will put, if the 3 undecided, it will go to the Republicans or put them at 46. And if they go to the Democrats here, it will put them at 57. Pretty much higher than where they are in May. So it's pretty feasible, just that 3 moved into the toss-up column. That's really all that happens. But as of right now, we're still projecting the month of June that the Democrats will win again in the Senate. Let's see if that holds up. It's a little odd that it happened, but it made sense for this case that if you look back at the popular vote here, we have the Republicans at 53 to 48. So it's still a little bit strange how the popular vote is not matching the Senate as normally it does, but I guess there's a few outliers. Either the Senate result is an outlier or it is the popular vote is an outlier, and it's not a clear indicator of how people are voting. It might be the issues at hand rather than someone's personal opinion about the party in power. So that might be what's at play here. Okay. So looking at the U.S. House, this is the House result that we had. We had April. Back in April 30th, we had the Democrats at 208 to the Republican 230. Let's see what the Democrats gain seats, what they lose seats, and same thing with the Republicans. It's most likely than not the Republicans will hold the Senate. Hold the House of Representatives. But we'll see what that poses. So let's take a look. So May, who will win the U.S. House of Representatives? They need 218 to maintain control of the House. So let's take a look. Gerrymandering, if you're not familiar, it's just basically just been redrawn up. So we will see how that would officially affect the 2022 House of Representatives. It is still not 100% completed in the month of May. It will see that final effect in June when we look at the June version in the moment. Let's take a look. So, all right, so now we know the House of Representatives leans Republican. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, right? We have young voters here. We have swing states decide, right? We have gay rights here. We have historical leaders. The midterm is not following historical trends. It's because of primary challenges. So we're going to have very few incumbents that win or not win. We're going to have the presidency is up for grabs. It's really just talking about the Speaker of the House is up for grabs. We won't know exactly who's going to be Speaker yet. I feel like Kevin McCarthy will not be the Speaker of the House just based on the specific meeting in May if it was held today. All right, Spirit Angel, please tell me, now that we know the Republicans are in the lead, so whoever is the highest number will go to the Republicans. Okay, so I did see the bias quick trial when I was shuffling. So again, it feels like when I said the Roe versus Wade leak, people feel like it's been biased, like it's not something that's being decided fairly. Right, that's how people personally feel. Right, so we have 213 to 225 seats. That is one average here. We have Atlantis here, which is Unsolved Mystery. January 6th. We also have the feeling of family values going back in time, going back to the past. No, I'm just going to do this. Grab it. So yeah, so we have here, we had the Democrats, Republicans lose. It's reversed. It means the Democrats lose. The Republicans win. So that's how we know. We also have majority leader, which is Republicans. So the Republican will be having a majority speaker of the House. Right? It does not lean Democrats. Nuclear war, so it's a nuclear blowout. And I don't mean that literally speaking. It means it's a term that is used specifically in politics that said that it's a blowout, meaning that the Republicans win by massive numbers, bigger than normal. Yeah, so the Republicans hold here. We have the winner unknown, which is reversed. We have the winner known. So we're going to have a clear knowledge of who's winning, right? And it's going to be based on the idea of healthcare. So I'm just going to here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so let's see. So for this one, we have 213, 225 House seats. We have 180 to 250 seats. We have 217 to 225 seats. We have 300 to 430 seats. We have 215 to 222 seats. And that is what I'm seeing. So we're going to do what we did last time for the U.S. Senate. We are going to take the top numbers. So the Republicans, we know, are going to get the higher numbers in this case. So we're going to add up 225, 250, 225, 430, and 222. We're going to add them all up. And then we're going to divide it by 5. And that would be the average. And that would be for the Republican Party. And the same thing will apply to the Democrats in this case. So let's take a look. We're going to add it up right now. Okay, so we have 222. Okay, so the total amount altogether is 1,352. We're going to divide that by 5. And that would make actually 270.4. So that is a big margin for a House seat for the Republicans. The first time that they are way over 218 needed to gain control. That is a big margin. That is like huge. They haven't had that margin since like Obama. So the last time they're closely matching the margin that the Democrats had back in July. But in this case, it's May. So that is very interesting. And we'll see if that holds for June. So now let's take a look for the Democrats. Let's see how they're doing for the Democrats in terms of the House of Representatives. So, excuse me, one thing, 213 plus 180. That's 1,131. I have a feeling they're going to be over 218, and that's not going to be good. Okay. Divided by 2. No, it's divided by 5, excuse me. That's 226.2. I knew they were going to be over 218. My God. Okay, so how this basically works, just so you guys know, I'm going to explain this in a second. 222. This is not theoretically possible. It is impossible for this to occur. I just want to make sure you guys know that. But I cannot change the result, and I'll explain why in a minute. This had not happened before, but I will explain why I can't do anything about it. Yeah, so we still have the Republicans win. As long as it didn't affect the Republicans winning, that's all that matters, right? Okay, so the reason why this is very important and why the Democrats, I cannot change their results, or the Republicans is particularly because when right in October, we're going to do is I am going to add up all the numbers from when I first started, and I'm going to average them out and divide it by how many months I did it, and then that will be the total average. So if I just say, for example, screwed up with the seats, that will change the result and not make this experiment accurate. So that is the main goal of this entire video, is to keep it as a historical record to say, hey, listen, this is an experiment. Let's see whether or not a tarot card can do this, right? This is just a draft. The next time for the next 2 years, starting 2022 to 2024, that would be a pure experiment. Right now, I have just found a formula. We're going to follow that formula to the rest of the campaign up until the 2022 midterm. So anyway, besides the point, let's do and talk about the 22 House of Representatives for the month of June. Now that we know that it's been leaked and everything going like that, let's see, are the Republicans still going to have a big lead in the House of Representatives, or will that start to dwindle? By 11% makes a lot of sense for the Republicans' live victory in the House of Representatives. That is very equated and makes a lot of sense, considering also the gerrymandering affected that as well. So let's take a look. Okay, so we have low turnout. That's a challenge versus high turnout. So it's kind of icky. We don't really know who's going to vote now because of everything that's going on with Roe and all the other important situations that is going to kind of bring people out that never would have voted before. Okay, so we have gerrymandering, right? UPS, US Postal Service, right? There's something with mail here. There's some trouble ahead. It had nothing to do with October surprise, but there is some trouble. It has to do with US Post Service. So it had to be some service problem. But it might be Planned Parenthood. This might be talking about Planned Parenthood. Not exactly sure, but I'm gonna go back to the electoral margin now. Here we have Republicans lose, we have Democrats lose. So again, we still have the Democrats in the loss category, we have the Republicans winning. So at least now we know who's going to be in the majority again for this month. We have protests and riots here. Black Lives Matter Electoral College here has been changed because of the gerrymandering. We have woke culture. We have yes, right? So I don't know what that means, but at least for we have education and unemployment levels, Great Depression type style. We have voter suppression. So there is going to be some voter suppression. So also keep that in mind as well. And we have democracy. So if you're worried about what's going on in the US, democracy is going to prevail, but it is warning you about the potential for them to scream voter fraud, even though there is no fraud. So keep that in mind. Okay, so okay, finally we actually have our first card. 213 to 225. 213 to 225. Okay. Card here. 188 to 199. 243. 217 to 233. So we just need one more. 234 to 248. So it kind of looks like it's going to be in the 40s. So let's take a look and see how that's going to go out. We're going to do the same thing as we did last time. What we're going to do is we are going to add up the numbers, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. We're going to take, now that we know the Republicans are still going to be in the majority here, we're going to take 225 plus 225 plus 199 plus 243 plus 233 plus 248. We're going to add them all up, and then we're going to divide that by 6, and that will be the average amount for the Republican to win the House seat if the House of Representatives, if the election was held in 2022, and the same method would be applied for the Democrats. So let's do the math. Okay. The previous month, in the month of May 22, we had 226 for the Democrats and the Republicans at 270. The reason why the Democrats are over 218 is particularly because that's the number I got. I cannot change that. As when it comes October, I will add all these up and I will make my final projection on the results and the data that I got over the month that I did this. So, in case you were wondering. Okay, so 225 plus 225. Okay, that's 1,373. That's divided by 6, and that will add out actually, wow, okay. But the Republicans will get 228.8 seats. I'm going to round that out to the nearest number, and I'm going to put 229 House of Representatives seats. So that is a major decrease from where they are. They are still going to be in the majority more narrowly than they were again in May. I guess whatever happened in May was a fluke, right? It probably would have been the trend had the Roe versus Wade leak had not come out. Again, we won't really know the effect of Roe being overturned until this month and at the end of July, and then we will know how women will be responding, voters will be responding later on in the month of August. Right, that's when we'll get our final results. So we're going to kind of see uptick for the Democrats. So keep that in mind as well. All right, so let's do the Democrats here. The 213 plus 213. That's for the Democrats, you have 1,297 divided by 6, and the Democrats will be at 216. 216, yep. That seems to be on par. The thing I don't understand though is that it works for the what's it called? It works for June, but somehow in May it was exponentially higher than every other single data point that I have here. But yeah, so it seemed to be on par. The Republicans will win with 229 to 216 for the Democrats here. It seemed to be on par with what we're getting. Again, that is what I am seeing here. So we are going to project a Republican victory in the month of June. A little overview here. We have the popular vote here. We have the popular vote. We have in the month of June, we have the Democrats losing the popular vote for the first time. We also have June here. In June, we also have the Democrats increasing back up in popular vote with 48 to 53. So right now, the Democrats are gaining back in popularity. You kind of see that in the House results, but let's take a look at the Senate. We also have here for the Senate, despite the fact them losing really badly in popular vote in May, the Democrats still managed to be able to get 56 Senate seats to 43 Republicans, with 2 up in toss-up category. In the month of June, we have the Democrats at 54 Senate seats to the Republicans 43, keeping them at the same majority while decreasing the Senate seats overall. It does appear though that the Democrats are pretty steady in the Senate as of right now. That could change in the month of July. Kind of unlikely, but we will see. The Republicans had many times where they won multiple times in a row compared to the Democrats. Let's see if that holds up. And then as for the House midterms here, we have for the first time here the Republican taking the lead in September 21. Again, that was 30 days after the pull out of Afghanistan, and the Republicans have led since, where the Democrats only led up until August 21. So that is what I am seeing here. The Republicans are decreasing their margin, and they had a major fluke in May with 270 to the Democrats 226, while simultaneously in the month of June, we had the Democrats decreasing by 10 seats to the Republicans decreasing overall. I'm not doing that math right now, but you can probably tell it's by 40 seats if I'm my margin of 39 seats. So that is a major drop, but nonetheless, they still win control of the House, and Speaker Kevin McCarthy would become the new speaker if that was the whole true. So that is the overall result of today. So yeah. So if you like this video, please don't forget to give a thumbs up, a like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Thank you all for watching this video. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of today's video and whether or not you found it to be informative and interesting. I know it was a little bit longer than I normally do, but it is because I did 2 months, May and June in one video. So again, thank you all, and I love you guys, and hopefully I see you soon. Bye.